Oro, you oaf. You wield your nail like a club. Guess we'll finally see for ourselves just how true that is. The Nail Master brothers, Oro and Mato. We've studied at their feet, now it's time for the pupil to surpass the masters. In the first phase, it will just be Oro, the one who taught us the dash slash. He has 1,100 total HP. When he falls to 600, his brother Mato, master of the Cyclone Slash, will join the fray, with 1,000 HP all his own. That's 2,100 HP. Only 4 bosses in this game pass that 2,000 mark, so this is going to be a hefty endurance challenge. To stand a chance, we'll need to really know their patterns. Let's start with Oro himself, because he shows us that the attacks are, mercifully, really simple. He has the 1-2 slash, the jumping slash, and the dash slash. When Mato joins in, we'll see that he also has the 1-2 slash and the jumping slash, but instead of the dash slash, he, of course, uses the Cyclone Slash. The 1-2 slash is one we've actually seen before, on the Watcher Knights, fittingly enough, but here, it's a little more threatening by virtue of the hitbox being much wider and taller. You essentially have 2 options to dodge. You can dash away, or you can Shade Cloak through. Shade Cloaking is significantly riskier. You have to start by positioning yourself right up next to him, and if you try and dash through him while he's not doing this attack, you might not clear the distance to get to his other side, as the step forward he does with the slashes gives you a good margin for error. The jumping slash is generously telegraphed, not just by the jump itself, but the brothers will actually do a wind-up before jumping, giving you ample time to react. The nail slash itself is deceptively large, but if you're behind him, that won't matter. If you do get behind him quickly, I highly recommend launching an Abyss Shriek for huge damage. The dash slash is kind of threatening for its size, but it also sports a very generous wind-up. And in Phase 1, this is the only thing Oro will jump clear across the arena to do, giving you even more of a heads up. You can slowly double jump out of its way, and if you're feeling bold, you can try and time a nail pogo as he passes you by. That's it for Phase 1, and before we launch into Phase 2, I want to draw attention to the fact that this is the 3rd boss that we've fought that begins against 1 and follows with 2 at once. So how do Oro and Mato differentiate themselves from the Mantis Lords and the Watcher Knights? Well, they actually have a bit of a strategy that they employ. That's right, they have a game plan, and their behavior will change depending on whether you're on the outside of them or in between them. When they're both on the same side of you, they will attack you one at a time, trading off by attacking, retreating, and repeating, as long as you remain on the outside of them. Their goal here is essentially to steadily drive you to the far corner until you have no choice but to eventually dodge by going past them, likely underneath a jumping slash. Once you are in between them, they will begin attacking simultaneously. Perhaps they'll both do the same attack, or maybe one will do a jumping slash while the other does a 1-2 slash. Either way, avoiding every possible combination is extremely hard. From the moment you wind up in between them, you are in immediate danger, so just take the easy way out. Perform a Descending Dark as soon as they have you surrounded and get the heck out of dodge, preferably in the direction where there is more space and not towards the corner. That's all without going over the nail art attacks in Phase 2, which complicate things significantly. Whenever one is jumping into position to perform their nail art, the other will strike a defensive stance, in which they'll become invincible to the next attack you land on them. If you do land an attack on them, they'll immediately retaliate with one of the 2 basic attacks. This whole time, the other will be using their respective nail art, so that generous telegraph makes a lot more sense now. However, if you don't hit him while he's defending, he basically won't act until his brother has finished. More importantly though, pay close attention while fighting the brothers to look for this pose, as it may mean that the other brother is charging up off screen, which can take you by surprise. The nature of both nail art attacks will practically guarantee that you have to dodge in such a way that lands you in between them, so be ready with the Descending Dark again. The Cyclone Slash, by the way, is probably the tougher of the 2 to dodge, being the only attack between the 2 of them that also hits behind him. But it is a lengthy attack, so as long as Oro isn't in an extremely inopportune position, you can take advantage of this time spent airborne by landing an Abyss Shriek. Once you fell one, which will most likely be Oro due to the difference in their HP, the other will continue to fight the same way Oro did in Phase 1. No alternating between attacks and retreats, just good old-fashioned offense. So this is probably the most complicated battle that we've seen so far in terms of enemy behavior. The disorganized chaos of the Watcher Knights definitely provided its challenges, but the tactics on display here are effective in their own way. However, in my opinion, the most difficult part about this fight is realizing that they even have a game plan, and knowing what that is going to make ours much easier. Phase 1 and the end of the fight against just one brother are easy. Just stay in his face and don't let him breathe. In Phase 2, we want to force them to keep using their alternating attacks as often as we can. again. So our number one priority is going to be to stay on the outside. Whether they approach us by dashing along the ground to do a 1-2 slash or a jump to perform a jumping slash, they will never advance further across the stage than the point that we're standing. So basically, in between attacks, we want to be as close to them as we can be. Essentially, this whole battle is kind of like American football, where both teams are fighting to get the other guys as far back towards their side of the field as they can. We can't actively push the brothers back, but in between attacks, we can push the line of scrimmage forward, keeping the furthest point they can advance to closer to their side. So here's the exact breakdown. Wait for one to approach, and as soon as one either dashes or jumps forward, immediately dash back to avoid the hitbox. Then, as soon as they're done, dash back in to land a hit or two. As soon as they jump away, you have until the next one approaches to walk forwards, pushing that line. Then, dash back as soon as one dashes or jumps. Rinse and repeat until they force you in between them with a nail art. Once they do, abuse the absolute heck out of invincibility frames until we're back into the cycle. And that should just about do it. Now, if you'll excuse me, there's something I've always wanted to try.
The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
Now, as evidenced by my single mask, these guys are tough. And in Ascended difficulty, this gets much, much more difficult. Oro himself starts out with 800 HP, and that's just to start. Or I should say, he has 800 HP in his first phase. So focus up, we've got quite a bit to deal with here. I wish you'd stop dash slashing, that is not my favorite thing for you to do. Alright, now in phase 2, they both have 1,000 HP to take down. This takes care of the HP differential that they had in their Attuned difficulty, which is quite a problem for us. Because essentially, oh, I need soul right now. Ouch, uh-oh. Which is quite an issue for us, because something that made them a little bit easier was the fact that Oro had so much less HP than his brother come phase 2, and it made it quite easy to, ow! Made it quite easy to take one down before the other and end up just being a 1v1 again. Here, that's really not the case. We have an endurance test and 2,800 health? Holy cow, are you kidding me? That is another level. And on their own makes them the tankiest boss that we have fought up to this point. But that does it there. I wonder which one this is. I wonder if we're even going to find out. Are you going to do a nail art before I take you down? You are. Oh, this is Mato still. Interesting. I still took them out in essentially the set order that they normally would be. Go ahead and give the Duel Masters a bow. They did hit me twice, so I just got to get that all done without getting hit only 2 less times. Against Nail Master Oro, against him solo, again, feel free to completely abuse your, oh, maybe not. As I was saying, against Oro solo, feel free to completely abuse your Shade Cloak. Anything that he does with this 1-2 slash is going to be much easier to dodge and you can get right back into things. For a fight like this, where it's a lot of HP, patience is a lot harder to see the value of. If you take this first phase slow, it's going to take you a really long time to even get to the phase where things actually start getting difficult. On the other hand, it is a very good idea to do something I haven't done here, and that is save up a lot of soul on the first round so that you can, oh shoot, use a lot of it to more easily take down the brothers. And to that end, I am going to go ahead and equip Soul Eater once again. As a reminder, if you ever want to over-charm, all you have to do is try and jam a charm into a space that is less charms than it costs, or less charm notches than it actually costs. And if you do that 5 times, then eventually the limit will break. Which is a really cool detail. Now, with Soul Eater equipped, it only takes 2 hits for us to gain the ability to do another attack. which is quite a lot and very, very welcome. Brothers always fight together. Oops, that was a bit of a waste. Come on, gentlemen. Alright, so once again, the pattern of their attack is the most important thing. Stay on the outside of them whenever possible. The dash slash from off screen is going to be one of the most dangerous things to you. So just, I recommend playing with good volume so you can hear that charge up sound as well. That can make quite a difference. Alright. Oh dear, we're in between. Okay. Okay, alright, so far so good. In again, out again. You just gotta take this fight like the tides. Flow in, flow out. Yike! Okay, we're good. We're good, we're good. So far, we're doing alright. I know there are mods in this game that people like to download that make it so you can see HP values. And this fight is definitely something I can see the advantage of on that. Especially since it would actually help you focus on a brother that is not, the brother that's more weakened. But that does it for that. Thank you, my masters. Thank you for watching this particularly tough episode of Boss Blitz. But Oro and Mato were merely the masters of the first Pantheon. Next time we'll move on to the second and take on the third brother, Shio.